Good morning, everyone. You are watching the Just Keep Up podcast, where we're one step ahead. I'm Kurt Johnson. This is Pete Zindros. We're excited to be back to you guys on this Wednesday morning. Fresh off of our show that we did yesterday. If you guys haven't seen it, go definitely check it out. We went over the Devontae Adams breaking news trade to the Jets, and then we went over some games from last week. So definitely check that out. But today, guys, we have a big show, lots to talk about, lots to get into, bro. We are going to be discussing one of our most heated topics that we could be discussing. So we're going to go over the basketball today, guys. It's going to be NBA. We're going to have two crucial debates for you guys today. The first debate is going to be our top five greatest players of all time, and we're going to talk about that and debate why or why not. And then we're going to debate our top five players in the game today. So no feature story tonight, guys. We just have two heated debates that we want to cover. So we're going to go through that, guys. If you haven't already, guys, like and subscribe. Help us to impact and to reach as many people as possible. Bro, do you have anything before we get into the show? All right, sounds good. Yeah, guys. So first topic for today is going to be our top five greatest NBA players of all time. So who are your top five greatest NBA players of all time?
Okay, so my list goes off a mixture of several things. I take into account your skill, your accomplishments, and what your impact overall and influence was on the game of basketball, just to clarify how I make my list. So, number five, I got Magic Johnson. In my opinion, the greatest point guard of all time. Some people think it's Steph, but I don't agree with that. Magic, number five. Number four, I got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, arguably the most accomplished player ever. Number three, I got the guy who's also my favorite player, Kobe Bryant. That's third. Number two, I got Michael Jordan, and then at number one, I got LeBron James.
Okay. Do you want to explain your list for the people? Because I vehemently disagree with that list, but do you want to explain to the people why you had LeBron 1, Jordan 2, Kobe
Yeah,
3?
yeah. Well, in my opinion, the reason why I have, obviously LeBron and Jordan should be top two on everyone's list. The reason why I have LeBron at one is because, in my opinion, he's the best basketball player to ever play. So, in terms of like an overall basketball player, he's the most well-rounded of anyone. So, I think he's the best. So, he already meets that expectation to be the GOAT. Then you look at his accomplishments. Although he's not the most accomplished player ever, like I know Jordan is more accomplished than him, and Kareem as well. His accomplishments are top three all time, like for sure. Like I mean, he got the four rings, the four Finals MVPs, the four regular season MVPs. He's the all-time leader in points now. He got the longevity. Like I mean, the guy's about to be 40 years old, and he's still a guy who can average like 25, 7, and 7 at worst in a season. And I mean, he's literally in the league with his son right now. And just the things he's been able to accomplish in his career with some of the teams that he's had in the past. Like, for example, that 2007 Cleveland team where, it was just a bunch of mailmen. He got them to the finals, but all people remember is that he lost, just to try and discredit him in the GOAT debate against Jordan because they don't use any context. Like that 2018 team who was also a bunch of mailmen, which he got to the finals and should have even won a game, but he lost because the refs fucked them over. J.R. Smith was drunk, whatever the hell he was that day. And just the fact that the guy made 8 straight finals with 2 different teams, like that is just flat out insane. Like at that point, that isn't even just a team accomplishment. Like that's literally a player accomplishment right there. I know championships and stuff like that are team accomplishments, but the fact that this guy did it 8 straight years and with different franchises, different coaches, different players, like that's just flat out insane to me. His ability to just be able to go anywhere and automatically like make the team a contender is what's really makes him the GOAT to me. And yeah, and as far as influence goes, I mean, he's arguably the most influential player ever. He might have not like physically change the game in any way, but I feel like his influence like in society and stuff like that, and along with some of the other things that he did for basketball, not physically, but some of the other things where he kind of made it like okay for you to leave your situation for another one, because before that players would mostly just stick their whole career with one team. LeBron was the first guy where he was just like, you know what, I'm leaving. So he made the decision to leave Cleveland because they got him no help for 7 years, and he built an amazing legacy moving forward from that. And nowadays, this is why you see like a lot of these athletes, even outside the NBA, where you know they're leaving their situations and all that stuff comfortably, or they're threatening to sit out. All this stuff is going on simply because LeBron decided to leave Cleveland. He was the first guy to actually pull the trigger like on his team like that. So he changed the game in that way. That's pretty much all my arguments on LeBron. Yeah, obviously second I'm gonna have Michael Jordan, the guy that was the GOAT before LeBron. You know, I mean a lot of people still think he's the GOAT, but you know, before LeBron he was literally everybody's GOAT. And then yeah, my reasoning for having Kobe third is because I believe his talent and skill as a player is top three all time. His accomplishments may not be top three or even top five, but overall, they are top 10. Like he got the 5 rings, the 2 Finals MVPs, the 1 regular season MVP that he has. Even though, in my opinion, he should have at least had 1 more. We'll get into that. But yeah, just overall, I mean, he's probably the greatest scorer who's ever played the game. He was a great defensive player. Yeah, and also I think his influence on basketball was he also didn't change the game either, but I feel like he definitely made it more popular because he was basically the second coming of Michael Jordan. Like Michael Jordan might have invented like the play style where you know you do the post fadeaways, you do all these contested shots and stuff. But Kobe, in my opinion, is the one who elevated this part of the game. He like elevated it to the point where you know, you shoot in a trash can and you yell Kobe, or you're at the park and you hit a contested shot and you're yelling Kobe. They don't scream Michael. You know, like then you got guys who are basically products of Kobe, like Kawhi Leonard, Jason Tatum, Devin Booker, like guys who resemble Kobe Bryant's game in a way. Like these players are all responsible pretty much because of Kobe, not necessarily because of Michael. Michael invented the style, but Kobe popularized it. And that's how I think Kobe influenced basketball, even though he didn't physically change the game. I think he popularized it. And then yeah, and then my list after that was just Kareem and Magic.
Okay. Do you want to go into why you have Kareem fourth and Magic fifth?
Yeah, I mean, Kareem's fourth. I mean, he's probably the most accomplished basketball player ever. I mean, I don't think he's top 5 in terms of like skill or influence, in my opinion, but the accolades are there. You got to give it to him. He's arguably the most accomplished player ever. I mean, as far as skill level goes, I mean, maybe he's a top 5 center all time as far as skill goes, but he's definitely not top 5 in terms of skill as a player, and he didn't really influence the game like that either. Well, actually, no, I'm lying. He did influence it a little bit because the sky hook. It wasn't like a crazy influence, but it was something. So yeah, I gotta give Kareem 4. And then Magic Johnson is, you know, the greatest point guard of all time in my opinion. A lot of people are starting to say Steph, but I still think Magic is greater in my opinion. I mean, he's the greatest passer of all time, like no debate. He has the accolades as well, and I just think when you look at Magic Johnson overall as a player, he was well-rounded. Like he was like a 6'9" point guard who could, you know, rebound the ball, pass the ball, score the ball when needed. I mean, the guy didn't even have a jump shot, but when it mattered, he made his shots like in the clutch time and stuff like that. Like he was a very clutch player. I mean, he could pretty much get to the basket anytime he wanted. You know, for his time, he was a solid defender. He probably wouldn't be that great of a defender in today's game, but back then he was solid for the standards of defense back then. So yeah, this is pretty much my reasoning why I have everyone in my top 5.
Okay, so just remind the people one more time your list.
Okay, LeBron 1, Michael 2, Kobe 3, Kareem 4, and Magic 5.
Okay. All right. So here's my top five. It's similar, but definitely Kobe's not in there. So number one, I have LeBron James. He's obviously the greatest player to ever play basketball. He has the accolades, he has the accomplishments, he has the resume, he has the talent. When you factor in all of that along with the longevity, I think it's not a debate at this point. If you're arguing that Jordan is the greatest player of all time, then you're arguing his peak. But we don't judge people just off of their peak. We judge them off of their entire career. And when you start to judge and when you start to look at their whole career, LeBron's just running away with the accolades. He's the all-time leading scorer. He's like third or fourth in assists. And so that's like unheard of. And so he just continues to do all of these amazing things. And the longer he plays, the bigger his case is. And so I think at this point, if you don't have LeBron there, then you're arguing who had the better peak. And then you can argue Michael Jordan. But I think greatest, you're factoring in their entire careers. LeBron's just doing it longer, and he's doing it better. And it's tough to argue that. So at 2, I have Michael Jordan. Obviously, he was the greatest before LeBron. The impact he had on basketball, he definitely globalized the game. He made it so before Michael Jordan, it was kind of like the game was ran through a big man. You needed a big man, you needed a talented big man, and you needed a talented guard. That's how the game was back then. If you look at the Celtics, the Lakers, etc. But he was the first guy where it's like we can win with the 6'6" shooting guard, shooting over people and hitting, tough contested jump shots. And so, he went to 6 straight, or he won 6 finals. He was 6 for 6, never lost in the final. I'm pretty sure all Jordan fans are going to tell you that. And so, so Jordan's 2. Kareem is 3. He's the most accomplished player of all time when you factor in college as well. He runs away with it. When you factor in the national championships, the players of the year, and then in the NBA, he has the championships, the MVPs, the second all-time leader in point, etc. He runs away with the accomplishments. Doesn't necessarily have the talent LeBron and Jordan do, which is why he's 3rd. 4th is Magic Johnson. He's the greatest point guard ever. The greatest Laker ever. He definitely, him and Larry Bird together, they kind of made the game relevant, and then Jordan kind of, made it global, but they definitely kept it relevant for years. His first year in the league, he got them to the NBA finals, and he even started center a game, right? And so he's the first player that was 6'9" that could dribble and that could do all these types of things with the basketball. We'd never seen anything like it. And he's probably one of, if not the greatest passer of all time. He also has accomplishments. He has championships. He has all these things. Iconic figure in the game. And then at 5, I have Shaquille O'Neal. And now I know we're not arguing peak. We're arguing career. But I would argue that his peak was the most dominant peak we've ever seen. For 10, 11 straight years, he's 29, 30 points a game, 12, 13, 14, 15 rebounds, 3 blocks a game, 4 blocks a game, 2 blocks a game, just complete dominance. And so he's the greatest big man ever following Kareem. So my 1 through 5 is going to be LeBron, Jordan, Kareem, Magic, and Shaquille O'Neal. And so really the only thing that we disagree on, which I want to spend a couple minutes on before we go to the next topic, is Kobe Bryant. I know, and the people know, that Kobe wasn't on anyone's top 5 list. Unfortunately, and I don't say this jokingly, he passed away. But all of a sudden, he starts to climb up people's ranking. And it's like, okay, did this guy have a second career? Or, because he wasn't 3rd, or even some people, you're not the only one that puts him in the top 5. But he wasn't in the top 5 before when he retired. So how did he then jump to being 3rd? I don't understand that. I don't want to use sympathy points. I think that's what we do for Kobe. And, God rest his soul again. I'm not trolling or anything, but I think for Kobe, it's the nostalgia of it. It's the Kobe, but he does not have the resume to put him as the 3rd greatest player of all time. He has 1 MVP. He's already out. So whether you want to say he should have more, he could have had more, whatever the case may be, you could argue that for top 10. You could argue, bro, I know Kobe, he was a bad man. He should have had more. Let's put him in the top 10. I'm cool with that. But you can't make that argument to say that he's the third. Like, no. They have to be there. If you're going to have a top 5, they have to be there. No excuses. And so for him to have one MVP, that automatically excludes him from the top 5, in my personal opinion. And then once again, his game is mimicked off of the guy right above him. Like, if you look at my top 5, they all changed the game in their own way. LeBron, Jordan, Kareem, Magic, Shaq. They all dominated in different ways, and they were the first to dominate in that way. LeBron was the first to be, the greatest passer and the greatest scorer, right? Magic couldn't score like LeBron, and so he's the first to do that. Jordan was obviously the first, guard to score the ball. Kareem was the first to score all those points as a center. Magic was the first to be a 6'9" guard who could also start center in the NBA Finals. And then Shaq was obviously the first to be a freaking 300-pound freaking maniac, breaking the freaking backboards and stuff. And so, yeah, everybody on my list is the first 5 to really do something in that. And so to have like a replica, which he was probably the greatest replica ever, but to have like a replica right behind him without the accomplishments of a Kareem or a Magic or even a Shaq is to me, it's crazy. But do you want to argue that point?
Yeah. Well, I do want to say one thing before I get to that. I don't think his death made him rank any higher on people's list, because even before like he died, like, there were people that thought he was top 5, top 3. I mean, although this might sound kind of crazy and I don't even agree with it, there's some people that actually think he's the GOAT, which in my opinion, he's not the GOAT. I mean, he's my favorite player too, so I'll be the first to tell you, you can't argue him over Michael or LeBron. You can't do that. But
sorry guys.
Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, that's just what I want to get across there. I don't think his death made anybody give him sympathy points. And then like I said, my list goes off of a mixture of multiple things: your talent, your accolades, and your how you impacted the game of basketball. I mean, I think, in my opinion, he's a top 3 talent. His accolades aren't top 3 or top 5. I did admit that. They're top 10. But when you also factor in the talent and the impact that he had on the game, he's probably one of the 4 most influential players that played the game. I mean,
disagree.
You could argue the order. The top 4, in my opinion, no order specifically, were him, Michael, LeBron, and Steph Curry. They all influenced the game like no other, in my opinion. I mean, you could go to a random kid in Africa, for example, and ask them who one of those 4 players are. They're all going to know them. While if you go and ask them, like, who's Magic Johnson or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, they probably will not know them because their impact also wasn't as big.
But being famous doesn't necessarily make you better. Just because he's more famous or around the world, more people know him, that doesn't necessarily mean he was better on the court. It could be, for example, I'll give you a perfect example. Is Jason Tatum better than Luka? No, he's not. But more people that don't watch basketball is going to know Jason Tatum over Luka that don't watch basketball. And it's because Jason Tatum is a little bit more of a brighter personality. He tries to mimic Kobe, so that's going to get people's attention more than Luka. He doesn't even speak clear English. And so, just because more people know him, I don't think that's a fair argument to say that he's the better player. And then as far as Kobe not having the accomplishments, I mean, that's why I say you can argue him being top 10, because you can say, I know that he should have more than one MVP. I believe that as well. But I think when you're talking about the top 5, you're nitpicking. And if you stack up his resume versus everyone else's in the top 5, it's not close, bro.
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Shaquille O'Neal is one MVP too, and you have him right there in the top 5.
Right, but again, like I said, Shaq, he was the first player to do something, which was one of my criterias. Okay. Everyone in this top 5 is the first to dominate the game in that way. And so I think, to put Kobe there, who's a replica of the guy who's slightly above him without the accomplishments, I don't think that's a fair thing. And then I know we could argue this too. Actually, we might not have enough time, but I think that Steph is right behind Shaq. So I have Steph over Kobe on my all-time list. Obviously, Steph has more MVPs. championships are right there. Kobe has one more, but they both have the same. No, Kobe has one more Finals MVP. Yeah, because Steph only has one Finals MVP.
Yeah, one more championship, one more Finals MVP.
But Steph has the one
regular
more
season.
Yeah, Steph has the one more regular season, and Steph obviously changed the game even in a greater way. I would argue he changed the game. He has the greatest impact of all time. Like, he revolutionized the game of basketball, and so that's why my argument will be Steph is over Kobe. But as you can see, my kind of trend here is like the first player to actually do something. I give them a lot of credit for that. And so, but yeah, we're gonna move on, guys. We're gonna talk about this Kobe topic a lot more when we have some special guests, because you guys are gonna love that. But in the meantime, we gotta move on quickly. So, what are your top 5 NBA players in the game today?
Okay. Number 5, I got Steph Curry. Number 4, I have LeBron. Number 3, I have Luka Doncic. Number 2, I have Giannis, and number 1, I have Jokic.
Okay. Yeah, we have the same 5, just in different order.
Okay.
So number 1, I have Luka. Number 2, I have Giannis. Number 3, I have Jokic. Number 4, LeBron, and then 5, Steph.
Okay.
That's exactly. So we have the same 5, just different order. The reason why I have Luka first is because I'm looking at it. I'm just preferencing this off of like not who we technically should put first. I'm going off of who I personally think is better. And I personally think Luka's the best in the game. I think he's been the best in the game for a couple years now. And then I got Giannis 2, which I'm even arguing. I'm debating that, bro, really. But Jokic 3, and then LeBron and Steph 4. But LeBron and Steph really turned my head in the USA basketball. Because I'm not going to lie, I had Ant-Man in there. I had... I had Davis over LeBron and Steph. Like, I had Embiid over LeBron and Steph. But they really proved a lot to me that they could still play high-level basketball, meaningful basketball. I mean, they were all on the same team, and LeBron and Steph were the 2 best players. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had LeBron and Steph already in my top 5. Like, when people were trying to say, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over them, Joel Embiid, Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, I'm just like, bro, like, these guys are not better. I feel like people were kind of getting brainwashed from what was going on just, like, at the moment, where it's like, they have very good teams. They're in the playoffs, making deeper runs, and they're balling and stuff. But I just feel like
that doesn't necessarily make you the better player.
No, not necessarily. Like, bro, like, in my opinion, what makes you the better player is, first of all, obviously, the eye test, and second of all, who you would rather have and trust more to win a championship. Like, you're not going to sit here, look at LeBron James and Anthony Edwards, and you're going to say, okay, I'm going to trust Ant more to lead the team to the title. Like, you're just not going to do that. I think at the moment you could trust Jokic, Giannis, and Luka more than LeBron, because they're better players right now. But no, I don't think Ant is better than LeBron. I don't think you could trust him to carry a team to a championship over. Like, if you put LeBron in that Minnesota situation, for example, they probably would have won it all, if I'm being real, bro. Like, if you gave LeBron, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, 6th Man of the Year, Naz Reid, and, those role guys that they got, like, they probably would have won it all. You know what I'm saying? Like LeBron was over here dealing with D'Angelo Russell scoring 0 points in playoff games and Darvin Ham making 0 adjustments. Like, bro, like, come on, bro. So, yeah, that's why I think you can't really go off of the moment too much. Like, you, really got to, look at the situation and really just use your head sometimes. Like, I wouldn't trust Ant or Embiid over LeBron or Steph to win a title. No.
Yeah. All right, guys. That was good. I wanna cut it off here, guys. I'm sorry. We're gonna end the show a little early. We're gonna head on over to Rumble, guys. So if you haven't already, guys, follow us on Rumble. Just go rumble.com or download the Rumble app, and then just click on. You're gonna type in "Just Keep Up Podcast." You're gonna find us. We already have a video there, massive views. So follow us over there if you wanna to learn more, or you like when we talk about geopolitics or history or anything like that, give us a follow over there. But yeah, I want to move on. I want to get to the end of the show, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Today's show, we went over our top 5 greatest NBA players of all time, and then we went over our top 5 players in the game today. And so, but that'll be the show, guys. We'll be back to you guys on Friday with some basketball and football topics. Yeah, guys, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Definitely like and subscribe. Get us to impact and to reach as many people as possible. And guys, remember to stay one step ahead. Yeah. All right, guys. Peace.